Tu connais toutes les stats des Lakers pis des Pats. Quand tu regardes jouer Philadelphie, tu sais c'est qui chauffe la Zamboni. Y'a un quiz, des jokes pis on donne des cas. Avec les invités on se dilate la rate. Si t'aimes pas le sport, écoute pareil. Tu pourrais découvrir des petites merveilles avec les sportiches. Bienvenue aux sportiches. Bienvenue aux sportiches. Bienvenue les sportiches.
Salut les sportiches, ici Frank Grenier, un de vos sportiches habituels, et j'ai le grand plaisir de vous inviter à cette édition absolument spéciale. C'est le mot que je peux utiliser, c'est l'édition spéciale des sportiches. On a eu une opportunité incroyable de recevoir un invité qui a marqué non seulement la Ligue nationale de hockey, qui a marqué le Canadien, qui a marqué la ville de Montréal également. Aujourd'hui, j'ai le grand plaisir de faire un épisode pour vous avec nul autre que P.K. Subban. Et là, vous dites, il doit inventer. Non, on va avoir P.K. Subban pour vrai, qui va venir parler aux sportiches. Et vous avez remarqué aussi que je suis seul. Mon acolyte sportif, Martin Vachon, n'est pas là. Il est en Turquie présentement pour un tournage. Donc, il va manquer ça, mais je voulais quand même lui parler avant. Donc, on s'en va rejoindre Martin Vachon directement de la Turquie. Salut Martin, comment ça va en Turquie?
Ça va mal, je suis en Turquie. Je peux pas croire que je manque cette opportunité-là. On a P.K. Subban au sportif, c'est fou. Mais bon, je suis quand même content. Je suis content pour toi, mon gars, que tu réalises un rêve. Je suis content pour les sportifs qui vont écouter ça. Je suis sûr que P.K. va être super généreux. Ça va être un épisode incroyable. Ça va être un épisode en plus en anglais, en Sportish International.
Ça te dérange-tu moins de le manquer vu que c'est en anglais, Martin?
Regarde, c'est sûr que j'aurais été capable de speak in English, mais tu vas être meilleur que moi. Mais pour vrai, je fais juste amuse-toi, mon Frank, t'as une chance incroyable. Je suis content pour les sportifs, je suis content pour le podcast. Ça va être incroyable. Profite du moment. Salut, Piqué de ma part. Je suis vraiment jaloux. Puis de la Turquie, je pense à toi puis à tous les sportifs.
Mais je le sais aussi que t'aurais aimé ça être là, t'aurais aimé ça lui poser toi-même des questions. Donc, je te donne une chance présentement, Martin. Tu peux me donner une question que tu veux que je lui pose en ton nom. C'est quoi la question que tu veux poser à P.K. Subban?
Oh mon Dieu! OK, attends une minute, ça c'est hot. OK. Je pense, OK. Ce que je voudrais savoir, tu demandes P.K.
Hey, on s'en fout de ta question. T'avais juste à être là. T'as choisi d'être en Turquie, tout nu. Ben, reste là-bas. Je vais m'occuper de P.K. Subban. Et écoutez, c'est avec beaucoup de fébrilité, beaucoup d'excitation que je vous présente notre invité d'aujourd'hui. Je peux pas croire que je vais dire ça. P.K. Subban.
Thank you.
I'm very, very happy, very grateful to have this chance to speak with you today. I never thought I'd get to talk to you in my life, as I'm sure you didn't think you'd have the chance to speak to me in your life also, I guess, right?
Well, you know what? We're here. And in life, you got to just be in the moment. You never know what's around the corner. So here we are, you and me. Mano y mano.
I agree with that. So how is the NHL's retirement life treating you these days?
Oh, it's been great. I can't complain. Love what I'm doing now, working on ESPN. Getting ready to start work actually again pretty quickly here heading into the holidays. So it's been fun watching the games and a lot of relaxing time, spending time with family and friends, especially heading into the holidays is the best time. So I've been doing well.
That's perfect. And I heard that you were going to collaborate in a series of commercials with McDonald's. So the most important question I can ask you today is, what's your go-to meal at McDonald's? What's your favorite McDonald's? What do you eat when you go there?
Cheeseburger. I've always loved a cheeseburger, and I have the reason why. I can tell you why, but there's no question it's a cheeseburger. And I usually get two. Cheeseburgers, large fries, 6 McNuggets, and then I call it a day. That's usually how I do it.
That's a very good combo. You always need that beef and chicken combo at McDonald's.
Yep, and the reason why is because when I was just a kid and I was playing, and we would always play hockey tournaments, you had to play a couple games in one day.
Yeah.
So, a lot of times you didn't go home to cook. So my parents would be like, listen, if you play well, we'll do McDonald's. Oh. And I don't know what it was. man, once I had one of those cheeseburgers, I'd be flying all over the ice. So I don't know. I think McDonald's may have played a role in my younger years of getting me going on the ice. I loved, playing well and knowing that after the game we were going to go through that drive-through, and what was coming in was just a lot of happiness.
So in some way, they help you reach the NHL, right?
Oh, no, for sure. That was a fun part of the game. Listen, part of working hard is definitely you want to be rewarded for it. I mean, that's what we encourage in life, is to work hard for the things that you want. And I wanted to play hockey, and I'd love to play. And it was another reason to play well. It wasn't the whole reason, but definitely a special one for me, and something I shared with my parents. It was fun.
Well, that's good. And you went from eating cheeseburgers as a reward for your hockey games. Now you're going to collaborate in the Showdown series commercials, the same they did in 93 and 97. Can you tell me more about what's that series and what's your role in all that?
Yeah, when you think about it, you think about Larry Bird and Michael Jordan and you think about Matt Sundin and Wayne Gretzky and how iconic those athletes were and how iconic those commercials were in that time. It was special, and it was a little bit before my time. I was pretty young. In 93, I would have been 4 years old. But, you remember with the invention of YouTube and all these things and social media where you get to see things from back then, you remember how iconic those athletes were. So to be a part of something like this was a no-brainer for me to do that with, Austin Matthews and McDavid are, the pinnacle of our sport right now and arguably the faces of it. So, to be aligned with them in a spot and something that's authentic to me with a brand like McDonald's is a no-brainer.
And what's your role going to be in those ads with McDavid and Matthews?
Yeah, I have kind of a funny role in it. I think people will really enjoy it. I guess you could kind of say I'm seen as more like the OG of the guys in that spot. But what's cool about it for me is how authentic my role is. If I was going to pick between a burger and a poutine, trust me, it'd be poutine. And I didn't say poutine. You heard it, poutine, because I keep it real and it's original. And I feel that we captured everything in this spot that was authentic to me. So, that puts it over the top in terms of being a part of it. And I was very happy with my role. And like I said, when you're associated with stars like that and iconic players in our game right now, that's pretty special. I guess you could say in a way it's kind of like a you've made it type of thing, like you're in a spot with two pretty premier players in the game right now.
Did I hear you correctly? You're going to have a poutine with your name on it? Is that it?
Oh, yeah. PK wow. Poutine.
PK
and,
Poutine.
PK Poutine, listen, you can't beat a classic poutine in Quebec. You can't beat a classic poutine in Quebec that's a PK Poutine with my style on it. Are you kidding me? Come on. All right. Austin Matthews and McDavid, they'll try to sell you on their burgers, and that's great. Okay, got it. But if you want something that's special, that's unique, that's pretty, that's beautiful, that's going to perform well, you get the PK Poutine, right?
Right. And right here in Quebec, I'm sure that's going to be the favorite choice also. Did you choose the poutine, or did they tell you it was going to be a poutine? Did you have a say in it?
Yeah, I had a little bit of a say in it, but it was kind of like what fits. If you know anything about McDonald's and when they do spots, it's like, it's always original. It's always authentic. It's like if you wanted to be in commercials, there's only like a couple brands. Like everybody wants to be in the McDonald's commercial. Like there's a reason for it. So it's not just because of the brand. It's because of the equity that they've built in their TV spots and their promotion and the people that they've used. So, my role in it, I knew that once I was going to be on board with the team, I was going to be comfortable with whatever they put together, and it was spot on.
And can you tell us what is a PK Poutine? What's special about it?
Well, it's a combination of sweet and spicy. Okay. So that was important. That's what I like in my food. I like it, with poutine. I didn't like it always crazy, but I captured the things in food that I do like. So I like something that's a little bit hearty, that's filling, but has a little bit of everything. And that sweet and spicy to me is nice. So. I like it.
Very, very good, very good. And you spoke about the 93 commercials with Michael Jordan and Larry Bird. I think they're still shooting. They never ate their Big Mac. I think they're still shooting. And you spoke about the 97. What's going to be different about this one, this go around with the Showdown series?
Well, listen, I'm not giving anything away. Everybody, listen, people, no. You got to watch the spot. The last thing we want to do is give anything away. That's part of the build-up to it. But I will assure you it will have every facet that you would want in it. It will be in this spot. You will laugh. You will giggle. You will appreciate it. And ultimately, you're going to want to go out and, eat the poutine first, and then you'll probably want to eat the burgers after.
And can we know, what are the burgers? Do you know what they are, or can we know about them?
I don't know. Listen to me. I'm focused on my poutine, okay? Let's focus on the PK poutine. We don't need to, all right? Let's stay focused.
I'm sorry, you got me hungry there, so I had to ask. Right, so I can't wait to see those ads, because there's always the McDonald's ads are fun, the NHL ads are fun too. So the combination, I can't wait to see them. Right now, I just want to go more on the sportish side of questions. On our podcast, we usually ask about the importance of sport in your life and everything like that. So I had a few questions for you.
Sure.
The first one I wanted to ask, you were traded from Montreal to Nashville, of course. I was curious, when you see against who you've been traded, does it matter? Does it change something against who you're traded?
I don't think so.
No?
I think that the timing of which things happen can probably maybe put more of an importance on who you're traded for. But in the scheme of things, it doesn't really matter, because, both teams are providing a need that they need to their team. So, I don't really ever do that. But I think that when it comes to the trade in Montreal, I mean, you have no choice to pay attention to it. People still talk about it today. So,
yes, they do.
People mention it, but, my experience in that case was probably different than most players, because I think what also matters is, did you know the player before? Are you familiar with the player? So in this case, I knew who Shea Weber was. You know what I mean? I knew who he was. I followed his junior career. I was able to get to know him at the Olympics before he was traded. So, I already knew the type of guy that he was, and he knew me. So we already had a rapport. And a few times we actually texted when he was injured. In my last relationship, I was, with Lindsay, she had known a doctor that for her niece. So I had spoken to him about that when he was going through some of his injury stuff. But, I can only say great things about him. And because of the trade, there were so many eyes on it. People spoke about it so much, you had no choice but to know everything about Shea. And I had already known everything about him, though, from watching him play growing up.
I guess it's cooler to get traded against Shea Weber than for draft picks, I guess, or stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Shea's a Hall of Famer. He's a guy who's won an Olympic gold medal. He's played a long time in the National Hockey League. So he's a guy that I've competed against, but I've also respected, and a guy who's also respected by his peers as well. So, I think that, it was a great experience at that Olympics, meeting all the players and getting to know them. And that was my time in my career where I was able to see all the stars in the league together and be able to sit with them every day and eat lunch and get to meet them. So, that's the coolest thing about playing in the National Hockey League. So when you have that type of relationship with all the players, over a certain period of time, you stop thinking about the trades and who's getting traded for who. It's just where they're going, where you're going. Are you happy with it? And I was happy in Nashville. They embraced me. They needed me. Yeah. We had a lot of great seasons there. So I enjoyed my time there.
Cool.
Immensely.
And like you said, it must be cool the Olympics or the All-Star games are mostly the events where you can share the ice and the bench with everyone, every star in the NHL too. So it must be special.
Yeah, for sure. And it's not even, there's so much around it. At that time I was 24 years old. So most of the guys in that room, Shea and these guys are a few years older than me. So, you're watching, you're observing, and so you're seeing those things. You're also seeing the things that you guys do alike and the things that you do differently. And to be honest, you don't see much difference between players. They all get prepared to do what they do. And that's all you see is the preparation. So, there's two types of athletes in this world. There's ones that get prepared to do what they do, and there's other ones that just don't, To me, that's what's your standard of preparation. And, by that time, everybody's doing stretching. Everybody's getting treatment work. Everybody has their own team. Everybody has their own thing. So, you're either a talented player in this world or you're not. And to be there amongst the greatest players in the world is an accomplishment itself.
Yeah, of course. And you were talking about preparation. We actually had a question on our Patreon. Olivier wanted to know what's your technique or your superstitions about taping your hockey blade or your hockey stick. Do you do the huge ball at the top, or do you have any superstitions about that?
Yeah, so when I first started playing, I had a knob that wasn't that thick. It was just kind of tape. It had a little bit on it. And then once I started getting to the pro level, it started getting longer. And I liked having it longer because, it was harder for my hand to slide down the shaft, my top hand.
Yeah.
And then what ended up happening was that when I got to the pro level, I'll never forget, Thomas Plekanec told me something. And he's like, you should make your knob even bigger. And I'm like, why? He's like, it helps with your shot.
Really?
And I'm like, she's like, trust me, you should try it. But I didn't like that. I got big hands too, but I didn't like having this so much space taken up. So gradually my knob size grew, and it got to the point where I got ridges, and I did the top part of my knob was about maybe a half an inch thicker than the rest of my knob that ran down a little bit thicker.
Okay.
And I was a little bit different. Some guys hold their stick right at the knob. I held my stick off. So my knob was probably in the middle of my hand.
In your palm.
When I was holding it. Yeah, in the palm of my hand. So, I'll tell you, Adam Fox, like his knob goes on the outside of his hand. Like his hand is on his shaft and his knob is above it. Like it's kind of crazy how he uses that, but everybody's different. So I always liked a thicker knob. And then on my blade, man, it changed up. When I started in junior, I didn't tape the toe. Then I taped the toe, and I taped it only halfway. Then I taped it back 3/4 way. Then I taped the whole blade. Then I taped the whole blade and up the shaft. And then the one that I decided on the most was the heel and the full length of the toe. So I decided that taping my whole blade was the best way to go.
All right. So, and the big knob, did it help your shot after all?
I felt that it did help my shot, but it also mattered because I used a longer stick.
Okay.
So, because I used a longer stick, I always wanted to have leverage on my stick. So I didn't want, like with a thicker knob, it allows you to turn your wrist over easier on your blade. So, and have leverage, right? Have leverage on it. So I like doing that. And as my career went on, my stick got longer and longer. Like at the end of my career, my stick was like up to my forehead with my skates off,
Okay.
So, which meant that my stick kind of fell just above my nose, probably with my skates on.
Wow. Okay. That's pretty long too. So that's good.
That is a long stick. And to do all the stick handling in tight that I did, that's what I learned to do. That was the real talent in being an offensive defenseman, is being able to do all those small area things with a long stick. It just allows you to do so much more, in my opinion, cover more space.
Yeah, you have more options with that. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, and there's I have a fond memory of your play here. I wanted to share with you today. It was in the 2011 playoffs against Boston when you scored the tying goal at the end of the game. 2 minutes left, I think, in the game 7. I was in the bar.
There was about I think there was about 30 seconds left, like 38 seconds left.
Well,
yeah.
That was amazing. I was in a bar with friends, all our jerseys and everything, and everybody jumped. Everybody was doing hugs, and I even cried a little when you scored because all of those emotions. So I didn't know that Nathan Horton was going to take it away a few minutes after. But I wanted to know, did you ever cry because of an athlete's performance? Did an athlete make you cry because it was such an important performance on their part?
To be completely real with you. The only time I've ever cried, I never cried when we lost the Stanley Cup, in Nashville. I never cried when I didn't make a team or anything like that. The only time I ever cried were before playoff games.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's the only time I've ever cried because my preparation into the game was so emotional. So I would watch movies, I would watch video clips, all different types of things to put myself in a certain frame of mind and gear myself up emotionally to play at a certain level. And that caused me to be emotional at different times. So, that's the only time I ever did. And I felt better after I got that out, because when you want something so bad and you want to do it, it's also excitement. It's that excitement. So me crying was like all of that hard work that I did to that point. I was finally at the stage that I worked so hard to get to, and that was a chance to win the cup. So, I never wanted to leave a stone unturned, and it needed to be that to me before I stepped on the ice. If it wasn't that, then to me, I wasn't dictating the game now. I was just playing it, and I never wanted to just play in the playoffs. I wanted to win, so I always did that. And usually any game that I performed in the playoffs, it was that type of mindset before every game,
And did you ever get emotional watching another athlete's performance, like Olympics or another hockey game or another sport? Did you get emotional when you watch some athletes work?
There was a few times. Kobe was that guy for me.
Yeah.
Kobe was that guy for me, no doubt. I watched him hit buzzer beaters and game winners. And my eldest sister played basketball, and she was a massive Kobe fan. Her boyfriend at the time and ex-husband was a huge Kobe fan as well. So, I kind of grew up around my sister and her being a Lakers fan, and was able to see the qualities that Kobe had and what I wanted to develop in hockey. So I became a close fan of his. And that's why, I believe Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, why I'm so close to those players. It's hard to say they're the greatest athletes ever without mentioning Wayne Gretzky. To me, I have to put Gretzky in that conversation, and I couldn't discount him. But to me, those guys and their mentalities and their approach, did it for me. They still do. I get chills watching anything with those guys.
Everything was special about those guys too, so they were great. And I wanted to know also, as we all know, you played in the NHL, but when you were younger, did you play any other sports? Did you try other team sports or just other sports in general?
Yes. I'll give you a few. I played basketball in grade school, high school, grade school. I played up to grade 8. I ain't going to say I played high school basketball. That is not true. I did not play basketball at Runnymede Collegiate. But in grade school, I did play basketball, and I wasn't bad. But, one thing that my role in basketball that separated me from everybody else was to be able to see the court. So I was always the point guard, right?
Okay.
But I never practiced enough. I only played because my dad played basketball growing up, played in university. My eldest sister played basketball, like I told you. So I picked it up with them in the summertime and tried to play 1 year in more pickup. And you can't do that like in sports. When you want to play competitive sports, you have to be all in. And so, I played a little bit of basketball, but that taught me something about hockey, that hockey and basketball aren't much different. It's the same defensive schematics, give and go, isolation, zone defense, man on man, 5-on-5. The only difference is in hockey, there's no out of bounds and there's a goalie blocking the net. There's not much of a difference. So, playing that basketball and trying that, at least that's what I was able to take from it. The other sport was soccer. And that, my mom told me to play soccer just to keep in shape one summer. I think it was the summer I was 14. And she's like, you just need to move around and, you don't need to always be on the ice. And that wasn't a very good experiment. The first game I played and I wanted to play high level soccer too, thinking that I could run around and keep up. And I remember as a defender, I did okay with the running and chasing guys down and stuff. But when it came to the fine-tuned skills of it, Like, I never played soccer growing up. Like, I played in my backyard. I played in school. I was probably better when I was younger in school, but I'm not playing. These European guys that come from Europe that you see them playing volley in the hallway. Yeah, and they brag like they're soccer players because in Europe, everybody's playing soccer everywhere. They grew up playing it, right? So, right. And whether this is a made up story or not, it doesn't matter because that's how I feel about it. I'm just not good at soccer. But anyway, getting to the game, I ended up heading the ball in my own net on a free kick in my first game.
Oh,
and
wow.
my parents, the way they are, because they know me, I could hear my dad. Anybody that knows my dad, he's got a distinct laugh. I could hear him chuckling from on the side because, you know, at that time, I was probably one of the best hockey players in my age group. So, you know, I was no short of confidence, you know, from my game on the ice. But when it came to my game on the soccer field, it wasn't very good. So I ended up putting everything into hockey, and now I'm here now. But those are the only two sports.
You could hear him laugh in the stands.
Oh, yeah. My dad's laugh. Oh, you could hear him. You could hear my dad from a mile away. Can you hear my voice from a mile away? Yeah.
Okay,
and you probably can hear my dad's too. Yeah.
Is there a sport that you never tried that you would like to try?
I played pretty much every sport. Like, I played it in school. Like, I was great at badminton. I'm good at tech. Listen, you have to be a natural athlete to a certain extent. You know what I mean? Like, very rarely are guys great at anything and, you know, can't do anything else. So, you know, I can play every sport, but my expectation is to be elite at everything. And I would probably say that, you know, golf is a sport that if I put more time into, I think I'd be pretty good because I can hit the ball pretty good. But I've never had a regular golf coach. Everything that you see on the golf course is what I picked up from just playing with people. So that would be an area where I would want to do more. Tennis, great backhand and great slice. I think with a couple more lessons, I'd tear up anybody, including Federer, on the tennis court.
We'll send him this message.
Yeah, but those would be the two sports. Those would be the two sports that I'd like to play now. Being retired, I'd probably want to play those two more. 100%.
All right, I have a quick question. Last question for today. Is there a sport that you wouldn't try, that you wouldn't want to try?
Right now where I am, I just wouldn't. I would watch it. I watch it every time, but I just wouldn't want to be. It would be the UFC. I just have, now that I've been retired for a couple of years, you know, to step into a sport where I'd be getting hit in the, like having someone punch me in the face like 100 times, 150 times in a fight. Yeah. I'm just good on that. I probably wouldn't want to do it, but watch it. Oh, you're damn right. I'll watch it. I'll watch it. I'll watch every single time they go on pay-per-view. I love watching the UFC.
Well, there's a huge difference between watching it and doing it. So you're right on that one. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But I would have done it, like, if I was, like, instead of playing hockey, like, if I had to choose a sport to do, could I have done it? Maybe with the right training. But I got to show respect to those guys. Those guys are warriors in their own right. So I can't say that I could step into the octagon because we don't know that. Just like they can't, you know, I don't know if they'd be able to step on the ice, you know? Yeah. Would they be tough enough to fight on the ice? Yes. Yes, they would be. So, you know, yeah, that would be a sport I'd have to think twice about stepping into.
Yeah, the fights would be different in hockey if they played. That's for sure.
Well, when you think about it, the damage could be the same, you know, like it's, you know, so you're not completely in the clear in hockey either, right? It's a contact sport and it's just as dangerous as any other sport. But one, because I just have never been trained to fight, I guess you could say I'm a little bit reserved to making that decision right now.
Well, PK, thank you so much for taking the time to be on Les Sportifs today, for accepting our invitation. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. This is going to be an awesome spot. So we'll all be enjoyed together.
Yes, of course.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.